They were captured, caged, and shipped far from home. But these two unlikely friends had other plans, and a very funny revenge in store. Brutus and Tiko, a jungle escape story. In the heart of the jungle, under the glowing moonlight, traps snapped in the dark. A mighty silverback gorilla named Brutus was caught as he reached for a branch of bananas. Not far away, a curious little meerkat named Tiko poked his nose into the wrong hole. And that's when everything changed. The next thing they knew, they were locked inside cold, rusty cages, rattling down a train track under the stars. Brutus sat silently, his giant hands resting on the wooden floor. Across from him, a pair of bright eyes blinked. "Hey, big guy, you awake?" whispered Tiko. Brutus let out a low sigh. "Yes, I don't like cages." Tiko leaned forward. "Me neither, but I've got an idea." And just like that, the quiet night was filled with the spark of something new, hope. The train clattered over the tracks, its wheels squealing softly in the night. Inside the dim cargo car, the air smelled like rust and old bananas. Tiko wriggled and squirmed until, pop! He slipped between the bars. "Ta-da!" he whispered, grinning proudly. Brutus passed him a long stick through the bars. "Use this," he said. "There's a key ring by the door." Tiko crept across the floor, the stick in his paws. The train rocked gently as he stretched up toward the dangling keys, his eyes locked on their tiny glint of freedom. Brutus watched, heart pounding. The meerkat was small, but he was mighty in spirit. The lock clicked open with a soft clink, and Tiko grinned wide. They snuck past snoring guards and tiptoed into the supply crate. "Here it is," Tiko whispered, pulling out a box of tranquilizer darts. "We'll swap the sleepy stuff with something fun." He held up a tiny flask marked with a skull and a big smiley face. "Laughing gas?" Brutus chuckled. "Oh, they're in for a wild surprise," Tiko giggled. They worked fast, refilling dart after dart. When they were done, they slipped back into their cages, locking them as if nothing had happened. Now all they had to do was wait. The next morning, the poachers lined up to show off their animals to a buyer. One raised his rifle and aimed at a growling lion in the corner. Pew! The dart flew. Everyone froze. The lion blinked, then burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha ha!" he roared, rolling onto his back. "What did you he put in me?" The poachers stepped back, confused, then panicked. The lion, still giggling, leapt up and chased them down the tracks, tail whipping and teeth showing in a wild, laughing grin. With keys in hand and the poachers in a panic, Brutus and Tiko unlocked every cage. A parade of laughing lions, hooting monkeys, giggling elephants, and cackling hyenas stormed the camp. "Toss the banana peels," shouted Tiko, riding on Brutus's back. Brutus hurled a bunch with a mighty arm, sending two poachers sliding into a water trough. The jungle rang with joy and freedom. As the sun dipped low, Brutus and Tiko stood beneath the trees they thought they'd never see again. "Well," said Brutus, "I owe you, little friend." "Nah," said Tiko. "We're a team." They bumped fists, one giant, one tiny. From that day on, they stuck together. No one in the jungle messed with Brutus and the meerkat, not just because they were brave, not just because they were clever, but because they could turn even the scariest danger into a roaring, rolling, belly-aching laugh. At night, the animals gathered around the campfire and asked for the story, the one with the train, the poachers, and the laughing lion. Tiko stood tall, on Brutus's shoulder, of course, puffed out his chest, and told the tale with dramatic flair. Brutus just smiled, chewing on a banana, proud of their story and of the friend who helped him write it. And that's the story of how Brutus and Tiko turned trouble into teamwork and fear into laughter. Thank you so much for listening, little dreamers. If you enjoyed the adventure, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Simply Sleep for more magical bedtime stories. Every night brings a new journey, and we'd love for you to join us again. Sleep tight, keep dreaming big, and remember, no matter how small you are, you can do something very big. Good night.
Have you ever heard a snore so loud it shook the castle walls? Well, meet Sir Snore-A-Lot, the only knight in the kingdom who could defeat a dragon without even waking up. Stick around to find out how one sleepy night turned his biggest problem into his greatest power. Sir Snore-A-Lot and the Sleepy Quest. In the kingdom of Nod on the Nose, everyone slept peacefully. Well, almost everyone. Every night the castle walls shook, paintings tilted, mice wore earmuffs. And the reason? Sir Snore-A-Lot. He was a kind and brave knight, but when he slept, he snored like a dragon sneezing in a trumpet. One night, the king stormed into the room in his royal pajamas. "Sir Snore-A-Lot," he bellowed, "you've woken the chickens, the cows, and my crown fell off." Sir Snore-A-Lot sat up, yawning. "So sorry, your majesty. My nose has a mind of its own." So the king gave him a quest. Find the silent stone. It's said to cure the loudest snorers in the land. And so, with a yawn and a sleepy wave, Sir Snore-A-Lot rode off on his horse, Pillow Pants, the sleepiest steed you've ever seen. He waved goodbye to the villagers and set out at dawn, his armor clinking with each sleepy sway. First, he reached the Forest of 40 Winks, where hammocks swung between trees and gnomes snoozed with squirrels. So Snore-A-Lot tiptoed carefully, until Zah! He let out a snore that echoed through the forest. Gnomes shot up like toast from a toaster. Squirrels fell out of trees. "Who woke the whole forest?" shouted a grumpy chipmunk. Sir Snore-A-Lot gulped. "Sorry." Next came the Cave of Echoes, glowing with crystals and mystery. Sir Snore-A-Lot took one step inside and sneezed. Snore-A-Boom! The sound bounced off the cave walls. Rocks trembled, pebbles danced. "Oops," he muttered. At the heart of the cave, he found the silent stone. But just as he reached for it, Raw! A huge green dragon appeared, guarding its treasure. Sir Snore-A-Lot gasped, and in pure terror let out the loudest snore of all. The cave trembled. A giant stone loosened from the ceiling. The rock landed right on the dragon's head. The dragon blinked, wobbled, and fell down cold, fast asleep. Sir Snore-A-Lot blinked. Did I just defeat a dragon with my nose? When he returned to the kingdom, the villagers cheered. "You saved us!" they cried. Even the king smiled. "Your snore may be loud, but it's legendary." Colorful banners flew. Confetti rained. Sir Snore-A-Lot blushed, then yawned. That night, back in his warm bed, Sir Snore-A-Lot snuggled under his red blanket. He let out a gentle, heroic snore. Outside his window, the moon smiled. The stars twinkled. And in the distance, the kingdom of Nod on the Nose slept soundly, knowing their night was home. Thank you for joining us on Sir Snore-A-Lot's sleepy quest. Remember, even the things that make you different might just be what makes you great. If you love this bedtime adventure, tap that like button, hit subscribe, and snore along with us next time on Simply Sleep. Good night, brave dreamers.
What if one tiny bunny had one giant idea that could change Easter forever? Join Kiara, the bold and bouncy Easter bunny, as she sets out to create the biggest, most magical egg the world has ever seen, no matter how messy things get. Kiara and the biggest Easter egg in the world. Once upon a time, under the roots of a great oak tree in the heart of Willowborough Woods, lived a clever little bunny named Kiara. But Kiara wasn't just any bunny, she was the Easter bunny. And unlike the others who were happy hiding eggs, Kiara had big ideas. One crisp spring morning, Kiara hopped onto a mossy stump and made a grand announcement. "I'm going to make the biggest Easter egg the world has ever seen." The forest creatures gasped. "The biggest?" asked a hedgehog, blinking. "Is that even allowed?" mumbled a grumpy mole named Gristle, but Kiara just smiled. "It'll be taller than a toadstool tower and covered in chocolate sparkles." And with that, she got to work. In her underground workshop, lit with glowing fireflies in jam jars, Kiara built a giant chocolate mixer powered by carrot juice. She stirred melted chocolate until her paws were sticky, shaped marshmallow clouds, and painted sugar flowers in pink, blue, and gold. It was hard work. The chocolate kept collapsing, the sprinkles stuck to her ears. At one point, the entire egg rolled sideways and flattened a dandelion village. Oops. But Kiara didn't give up. "I'm going to do this," she huffed, scraping fudge off her nose, "even if I have to stay up all night." Finally, on Easter morning, Kiara rolled the enormous egg into the meadow. It glowed in the sun like treasure. The animals gathered, eyes wide. "It's beautiful," whispered a fox. "It's impossible," said Gristle the mole, in awe. But Kiara wasn't finished. With a hop, she tapped the egg shell, and crack! Out tumbled hundreds of tiny chocolate eggs, each one painted with pictures of spring. Flowers blooming, bunnies hopping, chicks wearing bonnets. The meadow filled with laughter. Everyone cheered. Even Gristle clapped. "Kiara," he said, adjusting his spectacles, "you've made Easter magical." Kiara's whiskers twitched with pride. From that day on, every Easter morning, the forest would wait, not just for eggs, but to see what amazing thing Kiara would dream up next. Here are a few riddles for you. Can you solve them? I hop around with fluffy feet, delivering treats that kids find sweet. With twitchy nose and ears so tall, who brings the joy to one and all? Who am I? Can you guess? Answer: the Easter Bunny. I grow in gardens, crunchy and bright, orange and leafy, a bunny's delight. I'm not an egg, but don't be rash. I'm often found in Kiara's stash. What am I? Answer: a carrot. Want one more? Here is a tricky one. I'm not alive, but I can crack. You'll find me hidden in a sack. I hold surprises deep inside. Some are sweet, some toys that hide. I'm not a joke, but bring delight. Guess me now, you just might. What am I? Answer: a surprise Easter egg. Thanks for joining Kiara's quest. Her Easter tale, we hope you guessed, was filled with laughs, and chocolate too, and dreams that hopped their way to you. From dandelions squashed to eggs that fly, to firefly lights and sprinkle that sky. It's always a joy to have you near, for each bedtime tale we hold so dear. So if you smiled or gave a cheer, like and subscribe, we'll meet next year. There's more to hear from Simply Sleep, where dreams are soft and stories deep. Enjoy your Easter, laugh and play. May giant eggs come your way. Now close your eyes, sleep snug and tight. Sweet dreams to you, and a good night.
Have you ever wondered what lays beneath the waves? Let's dive deep into the ocean blue, where a special yellow submarine has a big secret, and a big heart too. Yellow Submarine's Secret Adventure. Far below the crashing waves where sunlight danced and dolphins played, a bright yellow submarine rested quietly on the sandy ocean floor. Its name was Sunny, and unlike other submarines, Sunny had a soul. Every night when the world above was fast asleep, Sunny would wake with a cheerful beep and stretch its little fins. Yes, Sunny had fins. Time to explore, Sunny chirped, his little lights blinking like stars. That night, he was off to visit his friends in Coral Cove, a magical place full of singing sea turtles, giggling jellyfish, and glowfish that lit up like fireflies. As Sunny swam past shimmering reefs and school of curious fish, he heard a tiny voice. "Help, I'm stuck." Sunny spun his periscope. It was a baby octopus. Her tentacles were tangled in a patch of seaweed. "Hold tight," Sunny said gently. He carefully used his mini grabber arms and snipped the seaweed loose. The baby octopus beamed. "Thank you, Subby. Call me Sunny." He winked. They swam together to Coral Cove, where the underwater party had just begun. Crabs played maracas made from shells, seahorses twirled in sparkling spirals, and the starfish choir sang lullabies that made the ocean shimmer with joy. But then the water grew cloudy. Something was wrong. "Oh no," whispered Sunny. "The coral's losing color." The fish stopped dancing, the music faded, a dark shadow passed above, a boat had spilled dirty water near the reef. Sunny blinked his lights. "We need to protect Coral Cove," he called out to his sea creature friends, and together they began cleaning. Octopus scrubbed the coral with spongy arms, turtles pushed away debris, Sunny filtered the dirty water through his eco-clean engines. By morning, the reef sparkled once again. Coral glowed pink, blue, and gold. And as the sun peeked through the waves, Sunny sighed with happiness. Another secret adventure complete. And from that day on, whenever something in the ocean needed help, Sunny the yellow submarine would be there, quietly, kindly, and always with a smile. So if you ever look out at the sea and see a flash of yellow deep below, that might just be Sunny, off to his next adventure. Good night, little explorer. Sleep tight and let your dreams dive deep beneath the waves.
Imagine finding a notebook where everything you write becomes real. Pancakes appear for breakfast, a rainbow dances across the sky. Sounds perfect, right? But when Lily starts writing too many wishes, the magic takes an unexpected turn. Listen to the end to discover what happens next. Magical Daily Planner. It was a rainy afternoon when Lily found the old attic key. She tiptoed up the creaky stairs, curious to explore. Boxes stacked like treasure chests surrounded her, and there, under a dusty scarf, was something magical. A small brown book with a golden clasp and silver swirls. It whispered, "Daily Planner, use with wonder." Lily giggled. A planner? For what? Planning naps? Still, something about the book glowed. Back in her room, she flipped to the first page. The paper shimmered, waiting for her words. So she picked up a pen and wrote, 9 a.m., pancakes with whipped cream. The next morning, Lily awoke to the sweet smell of pancakes, fluffy, golden, topped with whipped cream, just like she'd written. Her eyes widened. Her mouth dropped open. "Mom, did you..." Her mum just smiled. "You asked for pancakes yesterday, remember?" But Lily hadn't. She had only written it down. To test her theory, she wrote again, 10 o'clock, a rainbow appears in the sky. She ran to the window, clouds parted, and across the blue stretched a brilliant, perfect rainbow. Lily twirled with joy. This planner is magic! All day long, Lily wrote wonderful things. 2 o'clock, meet a squirrel who tells jokes. 3:30, find a puppy with a bow tie. 5 o'clock, get a letter from a bunny. And guess what? She laughed with a cheerful squirrel, petted a puppy in a polka dot bow tie, and received a tiny envelope from a white bunny. That night, Lily sat with her pen, staring at the empty page. She had done everything. Candy clouds, bubble parades, marshmallow beds. But something felt missing. I want tomorrow to surprise me, she whispered. She closed the planner without writing a thing. The next day was full of surprises. Her best friend came over unexpectedly. They had a tea party in the park. Balloons floated above. Butterflies danced. A butterfly even landed on Lily's nose. She laughed harder than she had in days, and she hadn't planned any of it. That night, Lily slid the planner under her pillow. She yawned a sleepy yawn, tucked in her plush bunny and teddy, and smiled under the stars. Sometimes she still writes in her magical planner, but other days, she lets life surprise her. Because Lily had learned something wonderful. The best magic is sometimes the kind you don't plan. Thank you for listening to the Magical Daily Planner. We hope Lily's story filled your dreams with a little extra magic tonight. If you love this adventure and want to hear more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again for another bedtime story on Simply Sleep. Until then, snuggle in, close your eyes, and let your imagination write tomorrow's story. Good night, little dreamer.
Have you ever heard of a gecko who can't sleep unless he hears a fairy tale, read by a real fairy? Well, tonight's your lucky night, because this tiny gecko's dreams are about to come alive. Bedtime Stories for Gecko. In the heart of the warm, whispering jungle, where vines twisted like spaghetti and frogs sang lullabies, lived a tiny gecko named Gizmo. He wasn't a noisy gecko. He wasn't a flashy gecko. He was just curious. Curious about the moon, curious about the stars, and most of all, curious about stories. Each night, as the jungle began to hush and crickets tuned up their evening songs, Gizmo would lie on his favourite smooth rock, tail curled, staring at the sky and whispering. Someone out there must know a good story. But the stars never answered. Then one evening, something strange floated down from the sky. Not a leaf, not a firefly, but a sparkle. It twirled and zipped and, poof, landed next to Gizmo. "Ouch!" squeaked a tiny voice. That was not the softest landing. Gizmo blinked. She had glittery wings, rose Snowdrop shoes, and a teeny backpack stuffed with scrolls and books. "Hi, I'm Snowdrop," she chirped, brushing off her skirt. "Are you by chance a gecko who looks like he needs a good story?" Gizmo nodded so fast he nearly sent her flying. Snowdrop fluttered down to sit on Gizmo's rock. She opened a teeny tiny book and cleared her throat. "This one's called The Cookie Baking Pirate of Parrot Island." Gizmo's eyes widened, and so began a tale of a pirate with frosting in his beard, parrots that baked banana bread, and a treasure chest full of sprinkles. By the end, Gizmo was giggling so much he nearly fell off the rock. "I've never heard anything like that," he cried. Snowdrop smiled. "Well, I've got dozens more, one for every night." From then on, every night, Snowdrop would arrive just after sunset. She always brought a different story. There was the one about a dinosaur who only ate cheese, another about a jellyfish who opened an underwater hair salon, and one that made Gizmo hide behind a leaf. The Midnight Tickle Monster. Don't worry, it only tickled feet. Sometimes Snowdrop would mix up her books and read her shopping list by mistake. Mushroom powder, glitter socks, 12 acorns. Wait, this isn't the tap dancing turtle. Gizmo didn't mind. He laughed so hard, his tail wiggled like a worm on a trampoline. One night, after a story about a gecko knight who rescued a fairy queen, Gizmo looked up at the stars and said, "I wish I could tell stories too." Snowdrop fluttered her wings thoughtfully. Why not try? So Gizmo dipped his tail into the soft jungle dirt and started scribbling squiggly shapes. He told Snowdrop a story about a gecko who built a jungle roller coaster with only leaves and coconut shells. It was wild, wobbly, and wonderful. Snowdrop clapped. "Gizmo, that was amazing. I felt like I was riding it." Gizmo blushed. "You really think so?" "I know so," Snowdrop said. As the moon rose and the jungle yawned, Snowdrop nestled into a leaf hammock. Gizmo curled beside her on the rock. "Can you promise something?" he asked sleepily. "What's that?" She yawned. "Tell me stories forever." Snowdrop smiled, tucking a tiny blanket of moss over him. "As long as the stars shine and your tail still wiggles, I'll be here." And with that, Gizmo sighed a happy gecko sigh and drifted off into a world of cookie pirates, sparkly dragons, and gecko-sized dreams. And that's the end of our story, little dreamers. Thank you for joining Gizmo the Gecko and Snowdrop the Fairy on their magical bedtime adventure. If you loved this story and would like to hear even more magical bedtime tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell all your friends about Simply Sleep, where stories sparkle, dreams come true, and every night feels a little more magical. Now close your eyes, snuggle up tight, and drift off into a world of special magical dreams. Good night, little stars. Until next time.
Zane was a zebra until a lion scared his stripes off. Now he looks like a horse. Can he find a new home? Can he become a champion without anyone finding out who he really is? Let's find out. The Striped Secret of Firefly Ranch. Once upon a time, in the heart of the sunny savannah, lived a young zebra named Zane. His stripes were bold, his spirit bright, and his hooves always eager for adventure. But one day, while trotting near a quiet watering hole, Zane spotted something that made his heart leap with fear. A lion, crouched low in the grass, eyes locked on him. Zane let out a squeal, leapt high into the air, and ran faster than he ever had before. When he finally stopped, panting and safe, he peeked into a puddle to catch his breath and gasped. His stripes were gone. Gone. All gone. His black and white coat was now just white. He looked like a horse. Zane returned to the herd, but no one recognized him. "Who's that new horse?" a wildebeest mumbled. "Stripes or no stripes?" whispered a giraffe. "That's not Zane." Feeling lost and lonely, Zane made a big decision. If I don't belong here anymore, maybe I'll find a place where I do. And off he trotted. For many days, Zane wandered across hills and dusty roads. Birds chirped above, and the wind whispered in the tall grass. Then one afternoon, as the sun dipped low, he saw something magical. A white fence, a red barn, and behind it, a racetrack. Horses zipped by in a blur of brown, black, and gold. A wooden sign read, "Firefly Ranch." Zane peeked through the fence. A young girl with freckles and bouncy braids spotted him. "Daddy, look! A beautiful white colt!" she cried. The farmer stepped over and chuckled. "He sure is a fine one. Never seen a coat so clean." Before Zane could say a word, not that he would, they welcomed him in with warm oats and a cozy stable. The other racehorses were sleek and swift. Zane tried his best to keep up, but his legs weren't quite made for speed. That didn't bother Ellie, the farmer's daughter. "I like you just as you are," she whispered one evening. "I wish I could join the horse shows, but I'm too little to ride." Then Ellie had an idea, a wonderful, exciting idea. "What if you pull my cart?" Zane blinked. Pull a cart? He had never tried that before, but the next morning they practiced together. Zane tugged gently, Ellie guided with ribbons and giggles, and soon they were gliding like a cloud across the ranch. At the next horse show, all eyes were on the galloping racers, until Ellie and Zane trotted out with their shiny little cart. They twirled, they dashed, they sparkled. When the ribbons were handed out, Zane and Ellie won the blue one for Best Horse Cart Duo. Cheers filled the air. "Who is that white horse?" people asked. "He's amazing." Zane didn't say a word, he just smiled. Because now, it didn't matter if he had stripes or not, he was home. That was the only thing that truly mattered. And that's the end of Zane's amazing adventure. From scared little zebra to a champion with a secret. Thank you so much for listening to another story on Simply Sleep. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more magical bedtime stories. Hey, tell all your friends to come and enjoy the stories too. Until next time, snuggle in, close your eyes, and keep dreaming big. Good night.
What if a gecko and a fairy accidentally launched 100 glowing lanterns into the sky and had to chase them down before the jungle animals thought the stars were falling? Gizmo and Snowdrop's Sky Lantern Surprise. In the heart of the jungle, just as the fireflies began their nightly dance, Gizmo, a bright orange gecko with cheerful yellow spots, was practicing writing words with his tail. So far, I've spelled banana upside down, frog sideways, and oops by accident. He chuckled. Above him, his best friend Snowdrop, a tiny fairy with glittery wings, rose snowdrop shoes, and a scroll-stuffed backpack, fluttered through the leaves. Careful not to spell disaster next, she teased with a wink, sorting her sparkliest scrolls on a mossy rock. Just then, something strange floated down from the sky. Bonk. A glowing paper lantern gently bumped Gizmo on the head and settled at his feet. Ouch! A flying jellyfish? He gasped. Snowdrop darted closer. It's a wish lantern. They only appear when someone makes a really big wish. She unrolled a curled scroll inside and read aloud. I wish the whole jungle could see the stars up close. They both looked at the twinkling sky above, and then at each other. I have an idea. Snowdrop grinned. All evening, they worked together. Snowdrop cast sparkle spells, while Gizmo tied banana leaves and coconut shells into glowing jungle lanterns. He even used some of his tail glue. Don't ask. They made dozens of lanterns, each one brighter and wobblier than the last. This one smells like mango, said Gizmo proudly. This one is a mango, Snowdrop replied, blinking. Finally, as the moon peeked over the treetops, the last lantern was ready. Then Gizmo sneezed. Poof! Every single lantern launched at once. Wait! Wait! Snowdrop shouted, spinning in the air. Lanterns flew in all directions. One landed on a sleepy sloth's head. Another dunked itself in the parrot's fruit punch. One even got stuck in a mango tree and spun like a disco ball. "The moon is melting," a toucan cried. Gizmo looked sheepish. "Oops," I spelled chaos. The jungle was in wild wonder. Snowdrop zoomed through the trees, guiding lanterns upward with her wand. Gizmo leapt from branch to branch, catching drifting lights and giving them a boost with his tail. A raccoon mistook one for a fruit bowl. A frog rode one like a flying saucer. And Gizmo accidentally glued his foot to a vine. Twice. But little by little, they got every lantern back into the air, high above the jungle. Soon, animals from all corners of the rainforest gathered in a clearing. They gazed up, wide-eyed and silent. The sky was filled with glowing lanterns, drifting like golden stars. Gizmo sat beside Snowdrop on a vine. His tail curled gently. Her wings shimmered softly. "I think," whispered Snowdrop, "the wish came true." And just like that, a jungle full of hearts lit up brighter than the sky. Thank you, little dreamers, for listening to the magical adventure of Gizmo and Snowdrop. If you enjoyed their story and would like to hear more of their jungle journeys, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Simply Sleep, and tell all your friends so they can enjoy the magic too. Now snuggle in tight, close your eyes, and drift off to a night full of twinkling stars and lantern-lit dreams. Good night, and sweet magical dreams.
Have you ever taken a train ride under the stars? Little Benny Bear had never been on a train before, until one magical night when he boarded the Midnight Express and discovered the coziest journey of all, Benny Bear's Midnight Train. It was a chilly, quiet night when the Midnight Express rolled out of the station. Its wheels clacked gently on the tracks, and golden lights flickered inside its cozy cabins. In the last carriage, on a soft velvet bench, sat a little bear named Benny. He was wrapped in his favorite patchwork blanket and dressed in his starry blue pajamas. His round eyes sparkled with wonder as he looked out the window. The night outside was dark and still, with stars twinkling high above snow-covered hills, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. The rhythm of the train rocked the cabin gently like a lullaby. Benny leaned closer to the glass, watching the moon glide beside the train as pine trees whisked past. A warm lantern glowed above him, filling the space with a sleepy amber light. Benny listened carefully. He heard the hum of the engine, the soft whoosh as they entered a tunnel, and even the distant hoo-hoo of an owl flying beneath the stars. Wrapped snug in his blanket, Benny let out a little yawn. He shifted on the bench, laying his head on a pillow and curling up like a cinnamon roll. Outside, the forest stretched out like a dream, misty trees, glowing stars, and hills that seemed to float. His eyelids grew heavy. The train rolled on, steady and calm, as a soft sparkle drifted in through the window like stardust. Benny smiled in his sleep, dreaming of snowy mountains and moonlit skies. The Midnight Express carried him through the night, gently, quietly, while the stars kept watch and the wheels whispered lullabies. And so, Benny Bear slept, safe and warm, dreaming all the way until morning. Good night, little one. Sleep tight.
Welcome, little readers. Today, we're going on a magical journey, not through mountains or oceans, but through the pages of a book. Have you ever wondered why reading is so special? Well, get cozy, because today we'll discover just how good reading is for us, from helping our minds grow strong to filling our hearts with big adventures. Let's turn the page and begin. 9 reasons why reading books should be part of your life. 1. Knowledge Highway. Books offer a vast reservoir of knowledge on virtually any topic imaginable. Dive deep into history, science, philosophy, or explore new hobbies and interests. 2. Enhanced vocabulary. Regular reading exposes you to a wider range of vocabulary, improving your communication skills and comprehension. 3. Memory boost. Studies suggest that reading can help sharpen your memory and cognitive function, keeping your mind active and engaged. 4. Stress reduction. Curling up with a good book can be a form of mental escape, offering a temporary reprieve from daily anxieties and a chance to unwind. 5. Improved focus and concentration. In today's fast-paced world, filled with distractions, reading strengthens your ability to focus and concentrate for extended periods. 6. Empathy and perspective. Stepping into the shoes of fictional characters allows you to develop empathy and gain a deeper understanding of different perspectives. 7. Enhanced creativity. Reading exposes you to new ideas and thought processes, potentially sparking your own creativity and problem-solving skills. 8. Stronger writing skills. Immersing yourself in well-written prose can improve your writing style, sentence structure, and overall communication clarity. 9. Improved sleep quality. Swap screen time for a book before bed. The calming nature of reading can help you relax and unwind, promoting better sleep quality. Thank you for listening, little dreamers. We hope you had as much fun as we did, discovering why reading is so amazing. Be on the lookout for our next bedtime story adventure. It's just around the corner. And don't forget to invite all your friends to come listen too. The more, the merrier. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss a tale. And who knows, maybe you'll fall in love with reading, just like we did. Sleep tight and sweet dreams.